Well, I think the way they're going about it is wrong. Just like everything, I feel like Trump does. He just does everything wrong. Like this Greenland thing, and now he's backpedaling on that. What I heard a term lately. They call him taco.
Oh,
Trump
to flip.
Trump
like when you flip?
always. I forget what it is. It's been around for a while. Trump always something. It's like backs down or something, but it's not that obviously.
cowards out.
So yeah, maybe
Something like that. Trump always cowards out or something.
yeah.
And so I think he did it with Greenland too recently. He's kind of backing down his approach a little bit, when I feel like the initial approach could have been a little sweeter to begin with. Like he could have been like hey, well, I guess let me just say first, his initial thing was he didn't want to do a lease, because then he felt like we put a bunch of money into it. We don't own anything. But I mean, people have done like lifetime, like million-year leases, right?
Yeah, for land. But the whole thing that doesn't what doesn't make sense to me is that we already had the freedom to put as much military on that, and you're not going to do anything but put military on that continent because nobody lives there. We already had the freedom to do that. We already had that agreement. So it's like, what? And that's what I keep hearing from everybody. It's like, what was the point of trying to like take it? I don't know. It's his legacy. He wants to just like put his name in the history books.
Yeah. So you could have got all these NATO allies to all chip in on it and all come together and say, hey, we need to figure this out. You know, Russia and China are expanding their activity in the Arctic, and, you know,
it's possible. You know, I think it's unique in his approach that he can come across forceful, and no matter what he does, everybody's guessing. Like you're just guessing. And when you have somebody that has actually acted on certain things or done, like made things happen quickly, like the whole Maduro thing with, that, or executing or following through on things you say, then you're not really sure what he's going to do. And I think he came strong on that one, just to kind of make, and I don't know if this Davos meeting had something to do with it too, the way it was timed. And then you sit down, but a lot of times people come across strong, right? They come, or when it's like, we call it keyboard warrior, or behind a screen, you can be tough. And then when you sit face to face or eye to eye with somebody, are you that aggressive? And the answer is probably not. Most times I think things kind of back down a little bit. Don't you agree?
Yeah, that's a good point, man. That's good. And that's a great point about they don't know how he's going to act. So he kind of shell shocks everybody.
Correct. And so, using that to your advantage of, and the other thing too is it's hard to argue with this stuff because, my personal belief is that we don't know everything about what's going on. Imagine the stuff that they can't say or the stuff that's going on. I mean, we know what we've heard on the news, but do we really understand or know the motivations of everything geopolitically? I have no idea. I don't, I guess I'd say. So it's hard to, it's always good to have an opinion, but again, unless you're front seat, how can you have people arguing about this stuff and it's okay, right, to disagree and argue, but when you have, it's almost like the blind leading the blind, or, two uneducated people about a topic that are arguing about it. I mean, you're never going to get there. It's just conflict. I don't know. It's a tough one.
Yeah, it's like, I think you're right. We see step 1 and 2, most of the time just step 1, and then maybe we get glimpses of step 2, or plan A and plan B, but we don't know what, step 20 is, or what, plan.
Far out strategy, stuff like that. Yeah. That's
a good point, man.
So it just, I don't know. It's easy to get behind or get bothered by certain things. And we all are, right? We're for certain things, we're against certain things, and do we really understand like the full depth of anything? Because you can go down the rabbit hole on anything. And it just seems like there's a lot of fighting going on right now. I always kind of joke during presidential election years, there's a certain percentage of families that split up on Thanksgiving, because that's timed right about just right, where like, and inevitably you're going to stir the pot. And again, these are families, been together forever, and they're stirred up and separating on things that they may not be experts on.
You're absolutely right.
That they're arguing about. And it's like, if you just zoom out,
You're
Is it
absolutely
really not worth talking to your sister for 20 years?
Yeah.
You know, because of the Bush, election year or something like that.
I got a buddy who was shot by his brother on Thanksgiving at their parents' house at Thanksgiving dinner.
Wow, that escalated further than I
Yeah.
thought. So,
No,
was
but
it
to
a
your
political
point-
thing, or was it just like, what was the
I
disagreement?
think it was more ego. There was
Okay.
alcohol and ego involved.
Yeah.
You know, the one,
dangerous combo.
The one who got shot was the one with the more muscles and was probably a little more drunk.
Instigating,
Yeah.
put, like you said, putting,
Yeah.
pick up at school, you start poking people in the forehead.
Yeah.
Eventually,
Yeah. But no, back to your point about family, even family members getting together at Thanksgiving, man, it can be wild.
I don't know. I kind of noticed it a long time ago, every 4 years. And in that year, that election year is always the most prevalent. And no matter what, I always hear of somebody that, had a massive fallout.
Yeah, you're right. The conspiracy theories. That's what happens when we see plan A and plan 2, or just, plan A and plan B, or most of the time we just see the first one, by Trump. And it just seems wild. He comes with that shock appeal. And I think the effects of that are pretty wild. Like even I was telling you the other day about, speaking of get-togethers and Thanksgiving. I mean, it wasn't Thanksgiving, but I had family over at the house, and when we have family over, there's at least 20 people over, which is nice. But one of the family members, there's a building that burnt down. I told you about it over in Aurora.
Yeah.
They had an apartment complex. You heard about that, Michael, right? That big building that burned down.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Still, it was under construction.
It was right. My cousin lives like a block and a half away from there. They were evacuated from their apartment building.
Yeah. It was maybe 70-80% done. It was far along. And this family member of mine was like, the guy who owns that is Jewish. And I'm like, where's this going? And I was
The
like,
red flags.
and I was like, what are you trying to say? And they were like, well, probably going to collect that insurance money. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Let's back up. First of all, you don't know anything about construction. You don't know how that works. As you're building a building, you're trying to get insurance on your progress. A lot of insurance companies, they have strategies. They're not just going to say, oh yeah, you're building a $20 million complex, $50 million apartment complex, or $100 million hospital. Yeah, I'm going to insure it for $100 million. Right. It's not what they're going to do. They're going to insure it with the steps of your progress, because they don't want to have to pay out, in that example, I wonder, who knows what the insurance arrangement was with that. I know when I built this house, I had to get the construction insurance because I was worried, especially before the stone's on.
Yeah.
You get some nut job who comes, oh, look at that big house, I'm going to just light it on fire. And when it's all open framing, they throw some in there, burn it down. And they would only insure me up to a certain percentage built. They wouldn't insure me past in fact, they said I forget what it was, if it was 50% done or something, they wouldn't insure me. They'll only insure me up to a certain percentage. Okay. And I don't know what their strategy was with that.
Maybe maybe there's a temptation for fraud if you're 10% built but you're fully insured, and you do a loss and you say, hey, I had a policy.
Very
for
well could
X,
be.
Y. I need the other 90%.
Yeah. But when this family member was saying all these things, it's, trying to get the insurance money and all these conspiratorial things. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
But back to do they know that? Do they know the guy's name?
Yeah.
Do they know he's Jewish?
Right.
Does he practice? I mean,
they just overhear
all this stuff, or did you
somewhere.
hear that?
Yeah.
And I heard it.
And then you know what they do after you challenge them? Then they're like, you think this, or you're like that. And I'm like, I mean, we talked about it. I'm not saying anything. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah.
I'm asking you questions. I'm asking questions about what, so I can understand. I'm asking you questions where you got your information, and it just gets weird.
It does. It seems like there's two parallel paths kind of progressing at the same time. And I saw a statistic on the news the other day that said certain networks aren't covering certain things at 0 or 1% versus like, left and right. Or there's always that famous experiment of psychological where they take two people, they show them the same political video, they have them come out in separate rooms and describe it. And they describe different videos, even though they saw the same message.
Oh yeah, it's wild.
It's just kind of
there's these whole I forget, there's a website, it's called like Ground News, or I don't remember what it's called, but basically you can go on there and you can look up news articles and it will give you all the statistics of who covered it from the left, who covered it from the right, did they cover it positively or negatively, and it shows you the skew between the networks or whoever's covering it, to show that like, oh, like these people reported it as an accident, these people reported it as something that happened on purpose.
Well, if you do that, and then you factor in that Meta and Google and everybody else are pushing things that you agree with to keep you online, you're going to think the people that are saying, if you don't agree with them right away, they're so certain because they've seen this 7 different ways. Yeah. How do you not know this? Like, how are you wrong, Jeremiah? And just without stopping and going, do I know this?
And I've noticed with those companies that you named, the big social media companies and like even other corporate companies, I feel like they push the politics change depending on who's in the presidency. Like it's this weird thing. Like it must be whoever's the president affects them that much. I don't know if it comes to taxes or 100%. Or anything.
Operating. You just don't want to get it. You want certain people on your side. You just, right?
You just see these companies just sway though. Like every time there's a new president, they sway to this way. You get a Democrat president, they're swaying to the left.
Of course.
You get a Republican president, you start seeing those guys sway to the right. And you're like, what is going on here? Why don't you just be who you are?
All the guys are at the inauguration. Don't matter who it is.
Right.
Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
Your boys are there, right?
Jeff every Bezos, single one.
Tim Cook, the whole crew. Doesn't matter who it is. But you know this, right? You're not going to stir up the pot with your boss unnecessarily. Do you need more problems? No. Everybody wants kind of like let's go along to get along here.
Yeah, I don't know all the politics that connect those companies, I guess, other than like certain tax.
I think it's just operating, and in this case, the politics were tariffs. Hey, if I don't see you making significant investment, we're going to tariff you. And that's a tool of leverage. And this might be good, it might be bad. The other statistic too about the politics is every time we have a president, 50% hate him and 50% love him. Doesn't matter who it is, right? So we have to remember, it doesn't matter what side you're on. Like this is normal. That we've got half in, well, there's probably a middle ground as well.
Yeah.
There always is.
I think there's always, I was telling my wife this the other day. I was like, it's always good to take a step back and think about history, look at things in the long term and how things have always happened. Like you said, it's always 50%, 50%. Politics swing way left and they swing way right afterwards and they swing back way left. And then, it comes up, oh, Trump's talking about doing a third term. And, it wasn't until, 25 years ago that we got rid of third terms for presidents, So like, no, I wouldn't be a fan of him having a third term, but it's not like, oh, now he's a dictator because he has a third term. It's like, it wasn't, presidents were doing that.
Did we really have 3 terms?
Yeah. Let me look it up. It was something, it was like 25, 30 years ago when it was taken out of it was amended or whatever.
I know. I heard like in the long time ago with the first presidents, there was something in there about that, but I didn't think it was that recent.
They probably couldn't have imagined presidents being 80. Like 80 didn't even exist back then.
A little bit further,
right? Yeah. I mean, it's like if you were 45, you were.
Yeah.
Okay, a little bit further back. It was 1951.
Okay.
But, still in our parents' lifetime, there were presidents serving third terms.
Sure. This episode is brought to you by the Josh Henry Workshop, where craftsmanship meets purpose. Whether you're in the kitchen slicing up dinner, out in the woods, or just need a reliable everyday carry, the Josh Henry Workshop has you covered.
Every knife is handmade and hand-forged in the good old USA in North Carolina by a veteran-owned small business that puts heart, heritage, and pride into every blade. Michael, what do you think about the Josh Henry Workshop knives?
Jeremiah, I love the quality of the Josh Henry Workshop knives. These are not mass-produced tools. They are custom pieces built to last with real attention to detail. So if you're looking for a knife that works as hard as you do, check out the Josh Henry Workshop. You'll find your new favorite blade, and you'll be supporting a small business that truly cares about the craft. Visit the Josh Henry Workshop on either Instagram or Facebook at Josh Henry Workshop to learn more or to place a custom order today.
Did anybody?
I think there was one or two.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't memorize the presidents in order.
That was a long time ago, though.
Yeah, I never memorized the
I know
presidents either.
Some classes had, I think AP history had to do that. I was like, nope.
There's always some like nerdy kid who's like, George Washington. They just named.
This is a life skill. This is like
Yeah.
it's like the kids that can recite pi to the 111th digit. You're like, all right, take it easy, Rain Man. We need
much, kid?
practical life skills here.
Yeah, you don't like girls, do you, guy? Huh?
Okay, so it was FDR was the only one that served more than 2 terms
Wow.
in 1944. So then shortly after he did his 3rd term, they changed
Sounds
it.
like they got rid of it right after.
Yeah, they're like, maybe not. Oh, let's not.
Yeah, it seems like that's how that played out. Well, and then World War II. Was that because of World War II that was affected by? Or I wonder why he served 3, but whatever. Nonetheless, Trump
And a 4th term. He did 4 terms.
Ooh.
16 years?
Guess
No.
so.
love what
1940.
he
He
did
served a
with
3rd term in
national parks.
1940 and a 4th in 1944, before the 22nd Amendment, which limits presidents to 2 terms in 1951.
I didn't know anybody served 4 terms.
Yeah.
That's wild. 16 years?
Yeah, that's
We had a
pretty
little
wild. That's
dictator
pretty
there for a
wild.
minute, huh?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, passed in response to his long tenure.
Haven't I heard Trump say that Roosevelt, he was great? No?
I don't know. He said a lot of things.
That might have been Shane Gillis.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's phenomenal at this.
Dude, his impression is
Shane's the
spot on.
best.
yeah, he's hilarious. I like how he talks about how he looks like he has a little bit of the Down syndrome.
Oh yeah.
His face looks a little
Oh yeah.
Down syndrome.
He's like I almost missed it. I almost dodged it, but it caught me a little bit.
Yeah, but you know,
just
when you're
nick me.
when you're watching, you're kind of like, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, my sons would be watching Shane Gillis up there, and their mom's like, "Oh no, because Shane would be going crazy on some wild stuff, and I'm like, I don't see anything wrong with it. It's just a joke, you know. Learn to take a joke. That's another thing too. We are too serious against each other, man. Like, I mean, take this podcast for example. I mean, I don't care. Like, I had a transgender on here. We've got next week. We've got Antonio Martinez is coming on. He's a member of the LGBTQ community. Forgive me if I forgot any letters, people.
You got the base ones, the root letters.
The OGs.
Yeah.
The OGs, speaking of letters. And you know, I don't care. Like, I think we're all here together. We're skateboarding this rock through the universe. Sometimes I just think about that. I just think about this ball that's just flying over 1,000 miles. I think we're at 1,007 miles an hour or something. We're just flying through space. We don't even feel it. We're just skateboarding this thing.
When if you start thinking about the scale of the universe and what it's just like, God, yeah. But it dovetails nicely with what we were just talking about, and I think it's really important to just be curious. Just be curious.
Yeah.
About everything. Like, because when you get to that, I know, I'm sure, you can get surprised, right? I mean, we all have experiences or things that happen where, they have that epiphany of, oh, I didn't realize it was a better way, or I guess I can see that a different way now. And I think you do a great job of that. That's why, because that's what this thing is about. It's just being curious.
I want to know about everybody. I've always said I would love, and this is terrible. I know people, they look at me when I say this. They're like, what? I would love to have a serial killer on my show,
Mm-hmm.
just to talk to him and say, hey, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you?
Explain to me. I don't understand.
Yeah.
It drives
Obviously,
me-
I want you to stop doing it now.
Yeah, but it's so different. And it goes back to being curious.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're into anything. It bothers me if I don't understand something. It just bothers me. Like,
alien?
I'll think about it. And if I don't understand, I'm just naturally curious, I think. And I get what you're saying about all this stuff. Like, you don't have to identify or agree with everybody,
right.
but show me the contrast. Like, what is this? What are your,
Like an alien from another planet? Oh my God.
you should have them on too.
Like, yeah.
We're trying. We're
Yeah,
reaching
we're
out.
trying. If you're out there and you hear this, I would love to interview. I'll blur your face so nobody knows who you are. But man, I would love to talk to an alien that's from another world, another galaxy. And just tell me, what is it like? What kind of animals do you have there? What kind of plants? What do you guys eat? What is your sunrises and sunsets? Do you have a sun? Do you just that
Everything. Yeah. Ah, man, I'm fascinated right now. I'm just listening to some different podcasts about advanced civilizations that were way prior to us, because we like to think that we've been around 3,000.
Who are you listening
5,000
to? Like
years.
Graham Hancock?
Joe Rogan's interviewing a guy that's talking about doing LiDAR at the pyramids, and
Yeah, Graham Hancock, I think. Older guy. with
it's a different
glasses.
guy. This guy's
The guy
this
who
guy's
did LiDAR
different.
is
Oh, the
different.
younger
Yeah.
guy.
It's a current guy. It's a current guy.
Yeah.
I don't have
They used a French company and they flew over
something like
Yeah.
something like that.
because the Egyptian government wouldn't let them do it. So
Yeah,
they
and
flew
so-
over.
So we're trying to figure out, what are these, these pillars that go way down and
Yeah.
these caverns and all this other stuff. And they're trying to say that, even our civilization, if somebody found Disneyland in 1,000 years, what would they think? Like, we got mice running around here, and this was for entertainment. Like, what do you got
Giant
these
mice.
roller? Like,
They'd be
what
like-
was this? Is this like an energy transfer, out of body
They'd be
experience?
like, these people were stupid.
It's kind
They're easily amused.
But just trying to figure out, right? There's some answer. We may or may
Yeah.
not know, but it's
Yeah.
fascinating to think that there's some stuff in this world that's been discovered that's pretty old.
Yeah.
And like prior to what we think, or
Well, there-
what we grew up learning.
I was just thinking about this yesterday because I saw a video of somebody who was carving or shaping images into stone using lasers. They just lay it down in the thing and they just run over it and cut it was like a portrait of a cat. And I thought that there's artifacts that we found from however many thousands of years ago,
Yeah.
and they say we don't know how they cut it because there's no tooling marks.
Right.
What could this have been? Well, it's the same thing. We use lasers. If somebody found that and 100,000 years after our civilization crumbled, they'd be like, how'd they make these? There's no tooling marks.
Mm-hmm. No, it's wild to think about. It's a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah.
They just found, and I just looked it up because I couldn't remember what state it was in. They're called the ghost tracks. They were discovered in July of 2022 at the Utah Test and Training Range in the Great Salt Lake Desert. So they're ancient, 88,000 years old, human footprints. And it's weird. They like, because we have technology, right? We can reenact, like they can do these footsteps, and then they seen where that person fell back and landed on their butt because that made an impression, and they seen where there was an animal in front of them that kind of scurried, but it was a giant sloth, and like they're like, this is crazy what we're finding. Like, these humans were interacting with all these animals out here, and we can reenact it based upon all these impressions that are perfect in this mud.
Wow. Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
80,000 years, almost 90,000 years. Yeah. No, it's
Just
wild to
footprints,
think.
just impressions.
Yeah. And there's Colorado has some stuff around with like dinosaur footprints. You can see it, right? And I don't know how many millions of years those are, but it's wild to think that still exists. It's hard to like fathom a million years. Just like,
Yeah, so there's so much stuff that's that much more interesting around us. I mean, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier about, how we have people that are like on this side, with these beliefs that are completely the polar opposite of the group on this side. And for sure, if you showed both of them the truth, which showed them both that they were wrong, there's a portion of them, rather, not all of them. There's a portion that would just stick to their guns and just stubbornly just dig their feet in to the sand and say, nope, what you're showing me is fake, or it's not true, or it's just, that's what those guys want you to think. It's like, guys, even if you are different, it's not as extreme as you're making.
And the right answer is somewhere in the middle. It usually is.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Yeah. It's somewhere in the middle. Guys, you can see that from their point of view. Oh, this. Come my way too.
Yeah.
Especially, sorry.
Oh, and I'm just saying, like, to be so set and have your heels dug in the ground, do you really have skin in the game? Do you really, are you connected? Was this your family member? I mean, not saying you shouldn't be passionate about what you think, but step back a second. Just like, I'm going to give you that space to try to see something a little bit different. And for me too, or both, two different sides. It doesn't matter. Guys, it's okay.
Yeah.
I think that would be productive, but I think so many people are so stirred up and keep getting fed information that legitimizes kind of their, call it a side, their team, whatever you want to call it.
It's also like you said before, the whole keyboard warrior thing too. We go outside and have a real conversation with somebody, and they're not going to be as extreme as they are online.
It never happens.
Yeah, it doesn't feel. If you go out and just walk around, get off your phone for a day and just talk to people. Everybody you meet is pretty reasonable. They're just normal people. They're just like you.
And it's important. You forget that, right?
Yeah.
You forget that the billionaire is still watching the same Netflix you are, right? I mean, the guy is just like, that's not any different. I mean, everybody's a person,
McDonald's burgers,
but you do see that, like through through messaging, right? It's hiding behind the computer, the keyboard, versus go talk to them in person. And it's never, ever, or I should say very rarely is it going to escalate to as mean as that. Both sides are going to have a little bit more padding. Mm-hmm. I mean, you see this with politicians talking all the time. The rhetoric of a private press conference and then meeting face to face.
Yeah.
It's always more gentle.
Yeah.
Every time.
I think you think about that meeting that Trump had with Putin in Alaska.
Yeah.
Trump was talking a big game before that meeting. And then he went and met with him and he walked out and he was like, he's a great guy.
Yeah, you're right. Politicians are always
like,
yelling.
don't you remember saying all this stuff?
Yeah, he backed down immediately and he's like, yeah, it's fine,
Yeah, it's weird, especially in a place like America where you have so many different religions, you have so many different races, you still have homeless people, poor people, middle class people, well off, upper middle class, rich. You have so many different economic levels. That it's not like a lot of the old countries where, I mean, half the people in their town are their relatives. They look the same as them, same religion, same color, probably more or less the same, amount of money, sure there's going to be a rich guy over there and a poor person over here, but more or less the same people. In America, it's so diverse that there has to be a culture that says, hey, that is aware of that. Says, hey, there's compromises. You have to be able to make compromises, not like compromises that that affect people in a negative way, but compromises that benefit everybody in a positive way.
Yeah,
I do feel also like we've begun to put people in boxes so much more often. We meet somebody or we talk to somebody or we see somebody and then they have to be categorized and put inside of a box. And something that unfortunately seems to be being kind of restricted to us now, at least as Americans, travel. I think travel for me has always been one of the best. I've flown to Africa, gone to a little village, and then just like shot the shit with some dudes over there. They're just like me.
Yeah.
Their life is so completely different from mine, and they're just people. And we think like we see somebody on the news or we hear that this person's Muslim or this person's Jewish, and then we have all these ideas in our head of what they're like. But then if you sit down and have a conversation with them, they're just like you. People are the same, and we forget that.
Yeah, I think people can be stubborn. I think anybody can do it. You're quicker and more likely. Someone like you is more likely to go to another place and just be open-minded before they even get on the plane. other people, that are more stubborn, I think they should still do it because I think they're going to change the way they think.
Right.
But on the way there, they're going to be like, oh,
Yeah.
really, yeah. I hope they have a white part of that town.
Right.
I hope there's a lot of Americans staying in the hotel I'm in, but I think they would still benefit from it and grow as a person. So that's a great recommendation.
I 100% agree. I took a 13-month trip around the world back in 2013, and I had never traveled anywhere.
Wow.
I started in South America, and I just kept moving west until I got back to the States. And I visited 20 countries along that trip.
Wow, that's awesome.
And
where'd you go?
Started out in Paraguay, Bolivia, Peru, Argentina, Chile, Hawaii, New Zealand, Australia, Indonesia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, India, Nepal, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and Tanzania. And then I came back to the States.
What'd you like the most? Or they were all good in different ways?
Everywhere has something good.
Yeah.
And this goes with people. It's like different types of people, places, right? We can categorize them, and everywhere has something to offer. You might hear people complain about like taking a trip to Nebraska or Iowa. It's like,
I was in Nebraska.
I've had plenty of good experiences. I can give you a ton of like cool stuff to check out. But again, putting that in a box. Oh, yeah, it's boring. It's flat. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Not true.
Yeah.
Not true.
I was in Nebraska last week, and I was complaining about it, but it was because it was like -18, and I didn't want to go outside. So,
So there's a guy in Nebraska. Speaking of Nebraska, there's an old guy. I forget his name, forget the company, but he pioneered, I would say, the in-ground greenhouses.
Okay.
And he was like one of the pioneers who he did it, probably one of the first people to do it, buried like 3 feet in the ground, did like the whole capture the solar gain from the ground, circulate that through with, put pipes in the ground, use fans to get the heat from the ground or the cooling from the ground in the summer. Because the ground stays constant pretty much, right? Within a range, 50 to 60 degrees at a certain depth. So yeah, that's something that's amazing. There's a YouTube channel. Her name's Kirsten, I think is her name. She went out there and she did a podcast, an interview of him walking through his greenhouses and all. That's the way she does it. She goes to pretty cool places and does that. But that just shows in the middle of nowhere in Nebraska, this guy had this thing that just since then, and he became popular and well known, and even through her YouTube, helping him out. Although he was doing stuff before that, they now sell these kits and they teach other people how to do it.
Yeah,
and they came out of the middle of nowhere in Nebraska. There's snow outside that's like a few feet deep, and he's growing orange trees, inside this thing. Citrus trees, citrus fruit, and other things. So yeah, it's a good point.
Wow,
I've never been out of the U.S. Never. Not even to Mexico, not even to Canada.
Well, if you go to, like, let's say you go to Vancouver, Canada, or Cancun, Mexico, I argue you still haven't left the country.
Yeah,
Hold on. I need you to get 100 miles from that major airport and go experience the country.
Yeah.
Go experience it. And as long as you show up open and like have a smile, that's a universal language.
Right.
You're going to be surprised how nice and welcoming everybody is.
There's tons of places I've been. Thailand was one of those places where just walking around the street, I was in Phuket. I felt safer than I do walking around downtown Denver. Like everybody is just so kind. And they're all just saying hey to you and willing to help you with whatever. Like, yeah.
We don't often ask for help. At least I'm guilty of that.
Oh yeah, me too.
And if you ask a stranger for help, you might be surprised at the hit rate that it's successful. It's probably high, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody asks you for help, no matter what it is, at the grocery store, parking lot, something, side of the road, it feels good. But we're all kind of separate. We're all kind of in our boxes. We're in our houses. Then we're in our car. And there's less commingling, I think. It's not necessary to go outside now. I shouldn't say that forever, but there are more options internally, especially with the internet, to be inside and entertained
Yeah.
than before. I mean, there's only so often, if we don't have the internet, like how fun is it to stay in the house for an hour?
Right.
When you can blow the whole night away
Yeah.
with any number of options, right? Like TV, phone, whatever. Back then, like, let's go see what the neighbors are doing.
Yeah.
Remember
and-
when people knocked on each other's door? Hey, you home?
Yeah,
Wanna hang
now
out?
you can work from home.
Yeah.
You stay at home, get all your entertainment.
Yeah.
You can order your food to your house.
Yup.
I mean, you could order pizza and stuff before, but
Correct,
now you can order
no,
anything.
Everything. Yeah.
Have someone
Yeah.
deliver all your groceries to your door.
Groceries.
A lot of the Amazon stuff is day of.
Yeah.
You know, there's enough fulfillment warehouses here in Denver that
Yeah.
you can get it day of without even doing anything extra. If not, the next day, 4 a.m.
Almost always 2 days. Yeah.
Oh, you know about that, huh?
Oh, I know about that.
But imagine staying in your box, right? Stay in your box for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah.
How open are you going to be to the world, right? And so many people that will argue, traveling, like, oh, were you safe? Was
That
it
would be a
dangerous?
crazy
It's not.
documentary.
Yeah.
Just have somebody, hey, stay at home for 5 years. Don't leave.
We could probably
gonna
just
film
pick
it.
people in Lakewood.
Yeah, we could find
a
we could
couple.
find them. I'm
Oh,
sure.
you could put out calls for that. You'd have a line.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
you wouldn't have a line. You'd have a lot of emails because they can't leave their house. Remember?
yeah, right. I mean, people that I'm in, like 2 degrees away from or whatever. Like, I know people who haven't left their home. Generally, older people haven't left their home since COVID.
Or met someone new. How about this? Like, meet someone new twice a year.
Yeah.
Something like that. And when you're traveling, I always say that it's kind of like living in fast forward. And the fact that, if we're here and we all have our routine for what we do for work, what we do for home, what our responsibilities are, all this stuff, we might do something new once a week or experience something new. But traveling, you often at least are doing it every day,
Yeah.
if not multiple times a day. And so if you only do one new thing a week, which I kind of look, as growth because that stuff stacks on each other.
You're stagnant.
It's
kinda.
stagnant. It's really stagnant, right? Yeah.
And try to talk to people that are not like you.
It gets worse, right? This is probably the problem we've been talking about the whole time. It's like we have people fighting, don't even realize they're neighbors, and there's tons of commonality. And whether they themselves have kind of like been fed or choose to pay attention to certain information, and another subset is that other parallel stream of information, and then they're just clashing.
Yeah.
And it's like, for what? What skin in the game do you have?
I guarantee you there's an example of this happening somewhere that like two neighbors online, they somehow meet in a forum and they're fighting and they hate each other and whatever. But then in real life, they see each other and they're like, oh, hey, bud, because they don't talk about politics or whatever. They're best buds in real life. And then they go inside on their computer and they're just like hating
keyboard
on
warrior,
each other, tearing each other apart.
Or they flip each other off on the highway and then they go into the same
Yeah.
chat room and they're like, yeah, that's bullshit. And they agree.
He's like, this guy cut me off on the highway and I flipped him off. And the guy he cut off is like, yeah, that guy sucks.
Yeah. We're so dumb, man.
I mean, when you step back and look at things, right? And only time tells, right? We look back, hindsight's 2020, right? We look back and it's so easy to see certain things. But when you're in it, we're in the middle of things right now.
Yeah.
We don't even know things are going to change, or man, 10 years from now, we're going to say, can you believe we used to do this, or we used to think that, or we used to eat like all these things.
Yeah.
They're going to be,
We know that humans are so contradictory from all sorts of different case studies or whatever. But even like, say, like eyewitness, we know that it's not really, you can't really trust it because people shift things and they'll say one thing and the next day they'll say something else because they were thinking about it. And they, so we know that just in general, humans are very contradictory. And
Or they're influenced by their own bias.
right. And we've
Yeah.
moved this direction where if somebody contradicts themselves or whatever, that we want to make them lose their job or whatever. But that's, we need to, like you said, we need to accept things are constantly changing. Humans are constantly changing.
well, and there's such a, it's human to want to be accepted. And how do you balance, that with whatever majority group you're with, whether it be at work, with a friend group, a neighborhood group, all this stuff. And then you have your interests and maybe, I don't know, it gets
Yeah, how
It gets
do you
gray
balance
area
that?
really quick.
Yeah, how do you balance that with being a good person and doing the right thing? You know, because you have this thought in your mind, I want this goal. I'm trying to achieve this goal. I want to be liked. And
then-
you're locked into that. But along the way, you may have to be a good person, which will contradict that, or you may have to
Or to do what you think
do
is
the
right.
right thing.
Yeah. Do
that'll
you have the courage
Yep.
to buck the trend? And that's a tough one. There's a lot of people that will just go along to get along.
Yeah, I was watching a good example of that. I was watching down in New Mexico. There was that school shooting, and remember the officers.
Uvalde.
Uvalde.
Is that
Yeah.
Texas or New Mexico?
New Mexico?
New
Okay,
Mexico.
it is.
Well, it was
Okay.
New Mexico. I don't know if it was
Okay.
Uvalde. It's the one where the officers stayed outside the
Yeah, I
classroom for
thought
like
it's
an hour.
Uvalde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was one police officer who was in his vehicle, but he had the day off, but they let them have their police vehicles on their day off. They took him home. And he was running some errands. He went to the gym. He went for a run or something. He was doing something like that. And he heard the call on the radio. Day off, in shorts, T-shirt, sneakers. And he's like, okay. So he drove to that school and threw on a vest. He had a vest in the squad car, but he had shorts, T-shirt, sneakers, but a
Right.
vest and a gun. And he worked his way up to the police officers who were outside the classroom. And then he was one of the first police officers in the group of the police officers to breach the classroom eventually. But before he got there, there had been a long time. The police officers
Right.
were sitting
Yeah.
there, and he was labeled a hero for that. Even though there was other officers who also were ahead of him going in there. There's other officers too. And he said, they said, why'd you do it? Why your day off? And why'd you go there? And why did you do this? And why'd you go that? And why'd you go into the classroom? He said, because I was there.
I could.
Why'd you go to the school? Because it was happening. Like there was
Who
no
else? Yeah.
there was no gain for him. It was well, and nothing. I'm not saying this has anything to do with it. I think his daughter went to that school too, and I don't know how that played into the decision making. But the way he approached the interview was very candid and just very straight to the point. That I was there, I was available. That's it.
It's one of the worst things ever. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the nightmare scenario that we have guns for, right?
And I was listening to him and I was like, man, that's so, like, he was so giving and so, he wasn't selfish at all.
Thought it was the right thing to do.
Yeah. And he even said he thought he was going to die because when they went in there was gunfire. He said,
Yeah, I think I read 19 kids were shot, and
yeah,
some of that was with, the argument is the delay of how long it took to breach.
there was gunshots going on while the police officers were
Correct.
outside. So that means kids were getting shot, unfortunately, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it means. It's, I'm sure, I don't think there's probably an officer that was involved in that doesn't regret not, going in sooner.
Of course,
I'm sure they all regret that.
But we all have this conception of what we would do.
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to be in a situation like that, but there's no better test than to put yourself in that simulation, right?
Oh yeah.
It's the same as like, hey, if you find $1 million in a suitcase, what do you do? Oh, I'd definitely turn it in. Would you?
Yeah.
If I thought
Let's
about
try this out.
if I thought about what I would do, I would fly like Superman. I would
Right.
fly out of the atmosphere. I would have laser eyes. I would do all, that's what I could do, right? Because I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
But when you're in the situation,
Correct.
totally
Correct.
different.
So we have to remember, I think it's important to remember that, right? We all think that, oh, I know what I would do.
Yeah. Well, and we have this idea. We know, they're police. When there's gunshots, they just go in with guns. That's what
They're
they do. That's what
humans.
they're supposed to do. But they're humans.
Yes.
And if you've been in such high stress situations where you're pushing into, or you're going into a room to talk to somebody or whatever, that they have a gun, or you're hands on with somebody who has a weapon who's trying to stab you, you understand that it's like it turns into like a instinct or a fight or flight thing, and you in the moment you might not even be thinking about, well, what am I supposed to do? Sometimes instinct just takes over, and I think that's very often that's just not considered, right? We hear that, and tragic things happen all the time with police officers and whatever, and people just turn around and say, well, they weren't supposed to do that. That's against the rules or whatever. Like they didn't handle themselves correctly, and then you think, well, let's step back a second and think about what kind of stressors they were under and the options available to them. And yes, we don't always act like perfectly to the T like we're supposed to when we're in a situation like that, but we don't give anybody leeway like that.
We're so
ever.
quick to judge.
Yeah.
We're so quick.
Yeah.
Oh, they should have done. They're cops. They should have.
Right.
And granted, yes, of course, but this might never happen in an entire career as a law enforcement officer for these guys. A standoff like this,
Right.
where they're actively killing. I mean, standoff probably yes, but something like this.
Yeah, they talked about that in that documentary I watched, that they had never seen anything like that in that town. All the officers said we've never.
Didn't Matthew McConaughey go to that school?
I don't know.
I thought I heard that he did. I don't know.
Maybe
That's
it's
a
possible.
fake fact, but I remember.
Yeah.
I thought that came out when that happened.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk to you guys about, it confuses the hell out of me. And in the midst of kind of like what we're talking about, people, when they communicate with people and with each other and they have differences, I hear a lot of, there's like two things for sure that I hear. There may be more, but there's two things that really stick out to me. One of them or both of them is saying, well, what about this? And what about that? And they use this whataboutism. And then also there's like this, I see, you're like this and you're like that. And I'm just like, whoa, wait, but both of those things are so counterproductive and they may not even be true, but the other person is so quick to say that to the other person. Mm-hmm. And I just get so confused. I'm like, why can't you just talk normally?
It could be going back to, putting someone in a box. I don't know if you're comfortable with yourself, and maybe this is like an indicator of, that you're not really that comfortable. If you're trying to box people, or you have to be right or something like that. I mean, there are good points to any big argument. There's going to be valid points on both sides, and each side sticks to those, right? Like, without considering what about, call it this, right? It could be a great point, really good point, but classifying these complicated things, which will never be solved. There will never be a right side, right? There's going to be multiple instances of different things that reinforce. I mean, we're going to fight about certain things forever.
And even after we die, the next
Correct.
generation.
We're going to fight about abortion forever. We're going to fight about, what's another thing?
And then our kids are going to argue with each other over the same issue because they didn't live it yet. They didn't argue it yet. They didn't figure it out yet. It's not like they got to
It could be anything, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
And with time, we'll get better information and we can hopefully look back. They always say history repeats itself, right?
Yeah.
Fashion clearly does, right? Like you see certain things like come back around.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. It's a good point. But
I think you answered it greatly. I mean, that's probably it. We're just
somebody, to be uncomfortable or to be comfortable enough to go, you know what? I don't know, but what do you think? Yeah. Right. And to have two people like that, I mean, that's where the best learning is going to take place.
The other person has to be like that. Because if the other person's like, that's what I thought.
Or,
you don't know shit.
you don't. Yeah. And they're not willing to step down.
Yeah.
On something that they're clearly not an expert, right? I mean, we cannot know, we can't know everything. And when do you figure that out? Is it 35 that you realize you don't know everything? Or is it just a little after, a little before?
Somewhere
in there, right? But at 23, you're like, I got the world by the balls. Like everyone's going to love me. Here we go. And then you go get kicked around a little bit. And it's like,
Or those people that just learned something like a week ago.
Yeah, the resident expert.
But now they're walking around judging others. Oh, you don't know about that? And you're like, fool, you just learned about that.
Yeah.
Shit.
You remember Are You Smart, that TV show, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Yeah.
The answer is no.
Yeah,
I'm at
the
home
answer
right
is
now
no.
relearning 6th grade long division, multiplying fractions.
Or at least 6th grade thinking, right? How they think. We forgot about that.
Correct. If you don't use
forgot
it, you
what it
lose
was
it.
like to think like a 5-year-old, like a 10-year-old, like a 15-year-old. You have to stop and remember, I have teenagers now. I need to remember. They're hyper. They have a lot of energy. They need to be doing something. Okay, dad, parent, what do? Find them things to do. And then they thrive. Then they grow. But if I'm like, you need to calm down.
Yeah.
Go to your room, calm down.
Right.
That's like the last thing they need.
Correct.
They need to go the other way.
Correct.
They need
And
to
then
go to the moon.
Correct. And then when it's time to be calm for whatever brief time period that is, you can have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you go nuts, right? It's
Yeah.
like the puppy that. How did you think that this was just going to be a well-trained dog 6 months in? Like, you knew what you had. It's the same thing.
Yeah, they fight me when it comes time for bed, right? They don't want to go to bed. And I'm like, look, this is your age. This is how many hours of sleep you need. But Dad, and I'm
What
like,
are you going to gain? What's going on at 11 o'clock on Tuesday
Yeah.
at night?
I'm
Yeah.
like, you need to sleep this much so that your body can heal. You can grow. That's what you need. You need that time. Okay, Dad. Hold those lines there where it benefits them.
Well, we're learning the importance of sleep, right? We're
Yeah.
I love, as health education progresses, and it's no longer hey, I'll sleep when I'm dead. No, actually, this is not a macho thing at all. Like, you need sleep, and it's only going to benefit you and set you up better for the rest of your decades. It's not that you're going to be, able to pay attention in school tomorrow better.
Yeah.
No. These small things add up, right? Same thing with health. Same thing we're learning about alcohol. You see like the, alcohol. If you look at breweries or distilleries, you talk to any of them, it's a declining business.
Oh yeah.
And part of that is just the health awareness.
Education. Yeah, I'm glad to see the alcohol market going down. I think it's a terrible thing. It's just
It's poison, but I drink
But
it.
here we go. So let's use this as an example, because it's a perfect thing where we know that there's no healthy amount of alcohol. It's
Right.
like the most recent
Yeah.
study saying, right?
Yeah, your glass of wine a day isn't actually good
But,
for your heart.
right? Or
whatever.
cigarettes,
Yeah.
right? But if that takes you from fifth gear to second gear, or bring it down,
Right.
there's an arguable benefit. Can't put on paper, can't measure it, but you could do that on a string, right? And you could argue, you could set up. I take my position of no, actually, a cigarette once in a while, or beer, or cocktails, the healthy, or 2 or 3, whatever it is, when it's not. And you want to argue the other way, we can clash just like anything else, like we were talking about. And rather than, hey, a productive way of tell me about that. Why do you think that?
give the person the information. Maybe they'll think about it.
And if you don't understand, I don't know where I heard this, but something was like, if you don't understand where somebody's coming at on a certain thing, ask them, what have you experienced in your life that makes you think that? And more times than not, you're going to get some random story, a viewpoint, something, and go, oh, okay. I can come your way a little bit here on that, because I've not experienced that. I've not thought of that.
Yeah.
I've not seen that.
If you're willing to take that information in and process it, then
Without just not listening, right? Because so many people are like, I'm just waiting for my turn to talk.
yeah,
I'm not even going to hear you. I'm just waiting till I can, and then be right.
yeah,
See me, like, there is no right, or very often, very, very few times, you're never there.
right. Yeah, and then on the other hand, if you're asking those questions, sometimes you help somebody realize that they don't know what they think they know.
Correct, right? If you ask, what is it like asking why 3 times?
Yeah,
And most people
yeah,
can't do the third
yeah,
on anything. Why? Like the little kid, the 5-year-old, why?
Yeah.
This is applicable now. You're at work, something doesn't make sense. You're like, why are we doing that? Oh,
Yeah.
because of this. Well, why? What if we don't? Well, what would happen if we did this? You know what? I don't know.
yeah.
Run out of gas quick, right? But like, these are all good tools, right? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're all just trying to learn, grow, and just have high quality lives. And there's so much noise that it's probably important to stop and look at these things,
Yeah.
like these little arguments that could spin you up.
Yeah, that's a big
Where's
point
it?
right there. There's so much noise. Everywhere you look, somebody is an armchair expert, and they're telling you exactly what's going on with all the fervor behind it, and like they did research themselves and figured out what all the answers, and really they just heard it somewhere else, and they're puppeting it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One thing I heard recently too is, and it kind of spooked me out when I first heard it. It just shocked me. What the number 2 most profitable industry is in the United States, the first one's technology. Okay, that could be even music, movies, AI, everything that has to do with technology. And there's a lot in the technology field, so that makes sense to me. But the second one,
I want to guess.
Blew my mind.
I want to say banking.
Okay, banking.
Yeah.
I would guess pharmaceutical.
I would have thought
Ooh,
pharmaceutical
that's a good
too.
one.
Yeah, I would have. Pharmaceutical is definitely up there.
It's got to be there somewhere.
Unfortunately, it's gambling.
Oh, yeah.
And that is like, it just shocked me. I was like, wow. Wait a minute. You mean that many people are gambling? And it makes sense because
The accessibility is getting higher.
and it's not that regulated anymore. It's like, it's a lot more, I'm sure it's regulated to a point, but it's a lot more open and available.
Yeah, I was just reading about this the other day, actually, that they've found a loophole so that it's not really regulated. So these, I think Kolshi or something is one of the big ones. You have all your sports betting sites, which are run by casinos, and they're only available in certain states, and you can only be certain ages, like all the gambling rules. And then there's these new, they're apps mostly, and I think the biggest one is this Kolshi app or whatever. And the way they got around it is that it's not gambling, is what they say. It's trading on events. So you can bet on, and I don't know how differently they function, but you can bet on basically anything, right? You can say which is Trump going to fall asleep in his press conference today?
One of the big wins on, was it Polymarket? What's it? The platform called?
I think so.
Poly something. Maybe it's Polymarket.
I mean, I've heard that name.
Somebody won a $500,000 bet that they would capture Maduro.
Oh,
and the bet was placed Friday, and it went down on Saturday.
Yeah.
Or and something big, right?
Yeah, and it's like these apps you can do, they're basically unregulated because it's not gambling. You can do it anywhere in any state. And I saw an interview with one of the CEO of this app, and somebody asked him they were kind of being cheeky and asked him a question about monetizing underage gambling, and he, with a straight face, was like, you know what, I think it's a great untapped market. And he launched into this whole thing about how they could monetize underage gamblers, and they were like, we were just kidding. What are you talking about? And he's like, no, it's actually it's a great market.
I can and wherever there's profit to be made, I mean, people are enterprising, right? They're gonna go do this stuff. And when you don't have to go to a casino to make a bet, and you can do it on your phone, the same way you can order from Amazon, it's going to grow, right? And I don't know how many billion is wagered now with DraftKings and like whatever the top platforms are. But it's, we saw during COVID, Robinhood took off because it had similar kind of look, right? Really colorful. You could essentially gamble on, meme stocks were going crazy. The market was going all over the place. It was highly volatile. A bunch of people were making good money. Bitcoin was on the rise, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's addicting, right? That's a dopamine hit.
It's almost like a video game.
It doesn't become real when you're not handing over the cash, right?
Yeah.
In 2022, so this is a little while ago, before these new apps came out, the U.S. gambling market was estimated at $2.5 billion. Estimated to reach around $9 billion by 2032.
Okay.
So they
untapped market.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah. So I think it was Breaking Points I was watching. They were talking about this, and they said that hotels, like you go to check into a hotel, and they're like, hey, for 25% off your room cost, do you want to just put this $50 like to say, they don't call it a bet, they just say, do you want to, it'll just be like, hey, do you think it's going to rain tonight? And then if it does rain, then we'll give you 25% off your room. But the small print and if it's going to rain is like, it has to rain more than 0.4 of an inch.
Okay.
Or
something. Yeah.
And it can't be between the hours of like 10 p.m. and like 4 a.m. because that's usually when the temperatures outside go down, the clouds, drop their condensate or
because that's when it normally rains.
Yeah. Like the odds, right? You're playing the odds and like all this stuff. And that's like, wait, that's not getting a percentage off my room. Just, I'm gambling right now.
Yeah.
Well, it's what do they call it? Customer acquisition cost. the hardest thing is to get somebody in the door.
Yeah.
You got to get started, right? So you got to give the teaser, right? This is why every storage unit has the free first month. No one's getting their shit out of there for
Right,
7 years. Dude, I can tell you all that shit's going to the dumpster, but you can pay. I don't care what kind of deal you got, but like the first month is free, right? It's just, it's all the same, right? Hey,
bullshit.
300 free, like risk-free bet, first $300, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Same thing here.
Yeah.
Get them started. And once somebody starts, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But you know what? You could make it up because we have this other thing and then another thing. And before you know it,
Yeah.
and certain people are going to fall into that, right? Certain
Yeah.
people are not going to be able to handle that. Same with alcohol, same with anything else.
Credit card benefits. Everybody's
Credit
talking about,
cards,
I
yeah.
got to get this credit card because it gives me all the stuff. It's like, okay, you're not. Very few people manage their cards like well enough to actually reap all the benefits and not end up paying interest. And most people are falling for that trap.
Yeah, storage units is a big one. Do the math. It's simple math. If you have a couch in there, some end tables, and some boxes full of whatever,
Right.
just add, what does that all that stuff cost brand new? Oh, all of that brand new is $2,000. Okay, I'm spending $150 a month on my storage unit. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, I'm just going to give this shit away.
Well, it depreciates. Yeah. Giving away for free. It's not a loss.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to spend way more on the storage. I always tell people that. I never pay for a storage. I'm like, I'll sell it, give it away, or whatever.
With all the online marketplaces, the ability to do all this stuff.
Yeah. The only time you should have a storage is if you're doing something. You have a little business.
With an end plan. With
yeah.
an exit
Yeah.
plan.
You have a business, or you're in between, you sold a house, or you're moving out of an apartment and you need to move to another place. You may have to throw that stuff in there for a month or two. Fine. But any long-term storage is just for no business. You're not going in there to get stuff and put stuff in there all the time. Like I know a lady who buys and sells stuff and she has a storage.
Yeah.
But that's different. She buys and sells stuff and she's actively in her storage like almost every day.
So here's a good point. What percentage of storage used? And you keep seeing these be built, by the way. I mean,
it's crazy.
They're being built everywhere. And prime real estate.
Yeah.
Temperature controlled.
And
they're
like
being
3-4 stories.
Correct. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
elevators
about,
in there. I'm thinking about the one in like Highlands Ranch. I'm like, wow, that's a nice, but it's prime real estate being built. What percentage of people that have a storage unit for a year, have been there more than 3 times or something? Whatever it is.
Even
you might just see this statistic where
There has
somebody's
to
had a
be
storage. They've been
statistics.
paying for a storage unit for 5 years and
Yeah.
been there twice or something like that.
There's those RV lots too where people park their RVs. They're spending like, I don't know, $300 a month, $500 a month to park their RV there. And then they paid a lot for the RV.
Yeah.
And then they take it out, not at all, or once a year.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you know you can rent
Certain
an RV?
certain things are better to rent, but
You
hey,
can just
we
rent an RV for that week vacation.
And they'd
you
be like,
took.
oh, it's expensive. I don't think you're adding the cost
Yeah,
correct
I don't think
here,
you're doing
right?
the math.
Yeah, these RV storage lots, that'd be a good business.
This stat I looked up cannot be right. It says most people visit their storage units once a month or every other month to check on the items. And 27% of users visit weekly.
Make sure no mice got in there,
Oh.
or the ceiling's not leaking.
I
other than
don't
that,
believe that.
I don't either.
the shit. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough, man. It's rough. Just like I do the math. I do the math with people all the time that smoke cigarettes and drink, and people I know. I'm like, hey, let me just show you something. How much do you smoke a day? And they're like, oh, I smoke a pack or 2 packs, right? I say, okay, how much cigarettes costing? And every time they tell me, I'm like, fuck, it's up to that much now.
It's
What
more
is it?
every
What's
time.
a pack of Marlboros? Is it $12? 15? I don't even know what
I've
it is
heard
in Denver.
10, and I'm gonna go with 8 because
Okay.
I think I like to find
Sure.
shit on sale.
Sure.
If I was smoked, I'd buy a carton and throw it in the freezer and buy it on sale.
Okay, this is a big gap here, but it says between $7 to $18.
Okay. Well, it
Yeah.
depends on the state.
So
It's
we'll call
probably
it the middle with
gasoline,
like 11
everyone's
bucks.
tax is
New
different.
York's very expensive.
Yeah.
Colorado probably
$13 in New York City is what this says.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with 8. Smoke a pack a day, right? That's 8 times 7 days a week. Okay. $56 a week. Not a big deal, right? Okay. That adds up. Times 52 weeks. That's almost $3,000. Times you smoke for 40 years. That's $120,000.
Times the
Your health.
taxes you paid on your income. Hold on.
Yeah.
You pay like that was after tax money that you
Oh
used.
yeah.
So, if you want
Money
to make
you
it
didn't
worse,
invest in something else. That's just cigarettes. Now, if you did alcohol, it usually works out to be the same way. So you just times it times 2, and you just smoked and drank a house. Plus, your body's fucked. So your health is gone.
You got something you can't buy back, and you don't miss it till it's gone.
So you could be standing in front of a house with your health if you just didn't smoke or drink.
And what did you gain? Sociability? Nope. Remember when they stopped smoking in the bars?
Yeah.
And you had to smoke outside, and people would just go huddle outside,
Right.
do the thing. But I remember that happened in 2002. I was in Wisconsin, and the smoking rate dropped precipitously after you couldn't do it in the bar or restaurant.
Because it was more a social thing.
It was more of a social thing, and nicotine pairs well with
or mostly
alcohol, right? And everybody handles these things different. You can't classify like, oh, one person's going to gamble and not be able to handle it. One person's credit card, not going to be able to handle it. And then meanwhile, there's other people that are using these as productive tools. You could argue it, right?
Right.
And I love the way that you think, and I don't think a lot of people think. I think like that, and I project out, because little things over time make big things.
Mm-hmm.
Decisions, finances, health and wellness, right?
Just like they say, if you take a penny and double it every day for 31 days, isn't it like $1 million bucks?
If I had my machine, well, I can get on my calculator, factorial 31 or whatever it is. But no, that's huge. It makes big difference, right? And you don't need to work out 4 hours a day to be healthy. In fact, you should not. You should be able to a little bit, 20 minutes, get your heart rate up, like over time. And if you add up that time over a year, just like we've added this, you either did it or you didn't. There's not a lot of, there's always luck in the equation, but gosh, health is important to us at our house. And I think it is to you too.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
And we're lucky enough to get little reminders once in a while, whether we eat something that we probably shouldn't have. And there's a reason I don't have a candy dish at home, right? Or tortilla chips sitting out. I'm the one that goes to the Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
And on my 4th bowl of chips, they bring my meal. And
You're like, oh no, I can't eat now.
Fat loser the rest of the day, right? Just like, you suck. Like, okay. But, or if we get sick, which we rarely do if we're healthy, but we do sometimes. And man, when you're sick, you start missing your health bad.
Yeah.
And it's a good reminder, right? And as we age, and I know that you're saying, or that, it's important to you to live out, be able as you get older, right? You want to retire early. Like retiring without your health, it's useless. Yeah. It's useless. Cross off so many things you wanted to do that you're just not going to do anymore.
And you only have one shot at this. One shot. That's it. Mm-hmm. It's not like you can hit the reset button. It's not Nintendo.
I just think a lot of people forget that, they think little things like, oh, that's insignificant. If I don't get that Starbucks on my way to work, every other day.
Right.
It's just like, what's not that big a deal? What actually is.
It adds up. So I looked it up. A penny.
Oh, here we go.
A penny doubled every day for 30 days, grows to an astonishing $5,368,709. So it shows little increase for the first half of the month, but in the last couple of days.
A penny for 30 days?
Yeah, that's what it says.
I think it was that much.
It says reaching over 1 million by day 28 and 2.6 million by day 29.
Oh, okay.
And hitting the final sum.
But the calculation doesn't work anymore because we don't have pennies.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
how are we gonna do that?
It's bad math.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's huge. I think I like that you look at things like that. I look at things like that. I think you almost have to formulate a positive path and where you're currently at.
Well, I think everybody should. I think back to the beginning of this conversation, the middle of this entire conversation, I think people should think about everything, and they should think beyond it. Once they even think about it, they should think more about it. And that's, I don't know. I know a lot of people are not going to, but I think the world would be a better place if we did, and we respect each other and respect each other's differences. And man, you can almost enjoy other people's differences.
Correct. I can learn from that. You look at it as an opportunity. if you're curious, but if you're so concerned with, I got to be right, I got to show them they're wrong.
Right. Like, and like you said before, like just a little bit of give, like maybe you ask those questions, you give a little bit, they give a little bit,
and that's,
right?
and it's okay to be first too, right? Because if everyone's got their defense, right, up,
Yeah.
you're vulnerable. I'll go first.
Be a trendsetter.
See, and you may not get that reciprocity, but
Yeah.
what are we really winning?
Right.
Like in this,
Yeah.
the argument at the office, or, you know, whoever you ran into in line at Safeway.
Yeah. Right. Or even people, you know, I had conversations with my wife where, you know, she'll see something online and she'll come tell me, and I'll be like, I'll just say, yeah, I don't know. Tell me about it. Do you know? Did you do the research or whatever? And she's like, no, and maybe she'll get defensive. And for a second,
Correct.
it feels like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe she's looking at me a different way because I'm not agreeing with her. But in the end, that's not the truth.
But yeah, but when you ask questions, somebody wasn't prepared for that. Like, no,
Right.
no, I know this because I saw
Right.
here, I heard so-and-so told me,
Mhm.
or it was reported. You can even read about it.
Right.
And how many things that we read about that turn out not correct
Right.
later?
Oh, I
we
mean,
find out later, right?
The
This was
news
that
these days,
time-
they just say what
that time-
the headline and they
Hey, you
redact
have
it
to
later.
you have to put something. You have to
Yeah,
put
they just want
something.
to get hits, I swear.
You got to
Yeah.
put something up so shocking that I have to stop washing the dishes to look. That's the whole
Right.
point, right? It's got to be shocking. You
Right.
got to get my attention in the world of noise.
And then 95% of the time, it's not even what they said.
Or they'll bait you, right? When we come back from commercial, we're going to do this. Like, oh, I want to see that. That's dumb.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I waited
like-
for that.
yeah.
I failed. It's like clicking on something. You're like, okay.
Oh, they got me.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, I got to wrap it up.
Sounds
'cause
good.
I got another thing I got to get to, but
All good.
I enjoyed the conversation.
Me too.
Really appreciated it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah,
It's been
absolutely.
great.